Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Record in a public office or in a court of law. File for divorce. A line of persons or things ranged one behind the other. File a formal charge against. Office furniture consisting of a container for keeping papers in order. A set of related records, either written or electronic, kept together. Place in a container for keeping records. A steel hand tool with small sharp teeth on some or all of its surfaces, used for smoothing wood or metal. Proceed in line. The students filed into the classroom. Smooth with a file. File one's fingernails. An official written record of names or events or transactions. A cash box with an adding machine to register transactions, used in shops to add up the bill. Indicate a certain reading, of gauges and instruments. Record in a public office or in a court of law. Be aware of. Did you register any change when I pressed the button? Have one's name listed as a candidate for several parties. A book in which names and transactions are listed. An air passage, usually in the floor or a wall of a room, for admitting or excluding heated air from the room. A regulator, as a sliding plate, for regulating the flow of air into a furnace or other heating device. Computer science. Memory device that is the part of computer memory that has a specific address and that is used to hold information of a specific kind. Enroll to vote. Register for an election. Enter into someone's consciousness. Did this event register in your parents' minds? Manipulate the registers of an organ. Music. The timbre that is characteristic of a certain range and manner of production of the human voice or of different pipe organ stops or of different musical instruments. Record in writing. Enter into a book of names or events or transactions. Send by registered mail. I'd like to register this letter. Show in one's face. Her surprise did not register. A line of persons or things ranged one behind the other. A line of persons or things ranged one behind the other. Criminal law. A pleading describing some wrong or offense. He was arrested on a charge of larceny. Move quickly and violently. A quantity of explosive to be set off at one time. This cartridge has a powder charge of 50 grains. The quantity of unbalanced electricity in a body, either positive or negative, and construed as an excess or deficiency of electrons. The battery needed a fresh charge. Cause to be agitated, excited, or roused. The speaker charged up the crowd with his inflammatory remarks. Psychoanalysis. The libidinal energy invested in some idea or person or object. Freud thought of cathexis as a psychic analog of an electrical charge. Demand payment. Will I get charged for this service? Direct into a position for use. He charged his weapon at me. Blame for. Make a claim of wrongdoing or misbehavior against. He charged the director with indifference. Request for payment of a debt. They submitted their charges at the end of each month. Cause to be admitted. Of persons to an institution. File a formal charge against. The suspect was charged with murdering his wife. To make a rush at or sudden attack upon, as in battle. Give over to another for care or safekeeping. Provide a device with something necessary. Attention and management implying responsibility for safety. A special assignment that is given to a person or group. His charge was deliver a message. Heraldry consisting of a design or image depicted on a shield. A formal statement of a command or injunction to do something. The judge's charge to the jury. Attribute responsibility to. The tragedy was charged to her inexperience. An assertion that someone is guilty of a fault or offense. The newspaper published charges that Jones was guilty of drunken driving. The swift release of a store of effective force. Impose a task upon, assign a responsibility to. He charged her with cleaning up all the files over the weekend. Assign a duty, responsibility or obligation to. She was charged with supervising the creation of a concordance. An impetuous rush toward someone or something. The wrestler's charge carried him past his adversary. A person committed to your care. The teacher led her charges across the street. Cause formation of a net electrical charge in or on. Charge a conductor. Energize a battery by passing a current through it in the direction opposite to discharge. I need to charge my car battery. Enter a certain amount as a charge. He charged me $15. Fill or load to capacity. Charge the wagon with hay. Financial liabilities, such as a tax. The charges against the estate. Instruct a jury about the law, its application, and the weighing of evidence. Instruct or command with authority. The teacher charged the children to memorize the poem. Lie down on command, of hunting dogs. Make an accusatory claim. The defense attorney charged that the jurors were biased. Pay with a credit card. Pay with plastic money. Postpone payment by recording a purchase as a debt. Will you pay cash or charge the purchase? Place a heraldic bearing on. Charge all weapons, shields, and banners. Saturate. The room was charged with tension and anxiety. Set or ask for a certain price. How much do you charge for lunch? The price charged for some article or service. The admission charge. Provide housing for. A small, rustic, house used as a temporary shelter. Put, fix, force, or implant. Lodge a bullet in the table. Any of various Native American dwellings. File a formal charge against. A hotel providing overnight lodging for travelers. A formal association of people with similar interests. English physicist who studied electromagnetic radiation and was a pioneer of radiotelegraphy, 1851 to 1940. Be a lodger. Stay temporarily. Small house at the entrance to the grounds of a country mansion, usually occupied by a gatekeeper or gardener. Office furniture consisting of a container for keeping papers in order. Office furniture consisting of a container for keeping papers in order. A set of related records, either written or electronic, kept together. Put into an archive. Place in a container for keeping records. Enter by marching in a file. March out, in a file. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. I can't follow your line of reasoning. A slight depression or fold in the smoothness of a surface. His face has many lines. Mechanical system in a factory whereby an article is conveyed through sites at which successive operations are performed on it. A connected series of events or actions or developments. Historians can only point out those lines for which evidence is available. The road consisting of railroad track and roadbed. A conceptual separation or distinction. There is a narrow line between sanity and insanity. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A conductor for transmitting electrical or optical signals or electric power. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. He's not in my line of business. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Draw a line. Often plural, a means of communication or access. Lines of communication were set up between the two firms. The descendants of one individual. His entire lineage has been warriors. Space for one line of print, 1 column wide and 1/14 inch deep, used to measure advertising. A short personal letter. Drop me a line when you get there. A telephone connection. Be in line with, form a line along. Trees line the riverbank. The maximum credit that a customer is allowed. A particular kind of product or merchandise. A nice line of shoes. A pipe used to transport liquids or gases. A pipeline runs from the wells to the seaport. A commercial organization serving as a common carrier. Acting in conformity. In line with. A formation of people or things one behind another. The line stretched clear around the corner. A formation of people or things one beside another. The line of soldiers advanced with their bayonets fixed. A fortified position, especially one marking the most forward position of troops. They attacked the enemy's line. A length, straight or curved, without breadth or thickness, the trace of a moving point. A mark that is long relative to its width. He drew a line on the chart. A single frequency, or very narrow band, of radiation in a spectrum. A spatial location defined by a real or imaginary unidimensional extent. Cover the interior of. Line the gloves. Fill plentifully. Line one's pockets. In games or sports, a mark indicating positions or bounds of the playing area. Mark with lines. Sorrow had lined his face. Persuasive but insincere talk that is usually intended to deceive or impress. Let me show you my etchings as a rather worn line. Reinforce with fabric. Lined books are more enduring. Something, as a cord or rope, that is long and thin and flexible. A washing line. Text consisting of a row of words written across a page or computer screen. The letter consisted of 3 short lines. Blame for, make a claim of wrongdoing or misbehavior against. Bring an accusation against, level a charge against. The neighbors accused the man of spousal abuse. Bring an accusation against, level a charge against. Challenge the honesty or veracity of. The lawyers tried to impeach the credibility of the witnesses. Charge, a public official, with an offense or misdemeanor committed while in office. The president was impeached. Suggest that someone is guilty. Bring an accusation against, level a charge against. Rebuke formally. Bring an accusation against, level a charge against. Furniture intended for use in an office. Register electronically. They recorded her singing. Sound recording consisting of a disc with a continuous groove, used to reproduce music by rotating while a phonograph needle tracks in the groove. Indicate a certain reading, of gauges and instruments. A compilation of the known facts regarding something or someone. Al Smith used to say, "Let's look at the record." Be aware of. The sum of recognized accomplishments. The lawyer has a good record. A list of crimes for which an accused person has been previously convicted. He ruled that the criminal record of the defendant could not be disclosed to the court. Make a record of, set down in permanent form. A document that can serve as legal evidence of a transaction. They could find no record of the purchase. An extreme attainment, the best, or worst, performance ever attested, as in a sport. He tied the Olympic record. Anything, such as a document or a phonograph record or a photograph, providing permanent evidence of or information about past events. The film provided a valuable record of stage techniques. The number of wins versus losses and ties a team has had. At 9-0 they have the best record in their league. Put down in writing, of texts, musical compositions, etc. Remove, cargo, people, etc., from and leave. Put, an animal, to death. The sick cat had to be put down. Put in a horizontal position. Cause to sit or seat or be in a settled position or place. Cause to come to the ground. Reduce in worth or character, usually verbally. She tends to put down younger women colleagues. Make a record of, set down in permanent form. To come or go into. The boat entered an area of shallow marshes. Be or play a part of or in. Register formally as a participant or member. Set out on, an enterprise or subject of study. Take on duties or office. Put or introduce into something. Become a participant, be involved in. Enter a race. Make a record of, set down in permanent form. Come on stage. A tool used with workers' hands. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. England marches with Scotland. The act of marching, walking with regular steps, especially in a procession of some kind. It was a long march. The month following February and preceding April. March in a procession. Walk ostentatiously. A degree granted for the successful completion of advanced study of architecture. District consisting of the area on either side of a border or boundary of a country or an area. The Welsh marches between England and Wales. Genre of music written for marching. Sousa wrote the best marches. March in protest. Take part in a demonstration. A procession of people walking together. The march went up Fifth Avenue. A steady advance. The march of science. Cause to march or go at a marching pace. They marched the mules into the desert. Force to march. The Japanese marched their prisoners through Manchuria. Walk fast, with regular or measured steps. Walk with a stride. He marched into the classroom and announced the exam. A natural prolongation or projection from a part of an organism, either animal or plant. A bony process. A writ issued by authority of law. Usually compels the defendant's attendance in a civil suit. Failure to appear results in a default judgment against the defendant. Shape, form, or improve a material. Process iron. Deliver a warrant or summons to someone. He was processed by the sheriff. A sustained phenomenon or one marked by gradual changes through a series of states. Events now in process. Institute legal proceedings against. File a suit against. He was warned that the district attorney would process him. March in a procession. They processed into the dining room. A particular course of action intended to achieve a result. It was a process of trial and error. Psychology. The performance of some composite cognitive activity. An operation that affects mental contents. The process of thinking. A mental process that you are not directly aware of. The process of denial. Subject to a process or treatment, with the aim of readying for some purpose, improving, or remedying a condition. Process cheese. Deal with in a routine way. Process alone. Perform mathematical and logical operations on data, according to programmed instructions in order to obtain the required information. The results of the elections were still being processed when he gave his acceptance speech. Make a surface shine. Make smooth or smoother, as if by rubbing. Become smooth. Music, without breaks between notes, smooth and connected. Of a body of water, free from disturbance by heavy waves. A smooth channel crossing. Make a surface shine. Make smooth or smoother, as if by rubbing. Smooth the surface of the wood. Free from obstructions. Smooth the way towards peace negotiations. Smoothly agreeable and courteous with a degree of sophistication. The manager pacified the customer with a smooth apology for the error. Smooth and unconstrained in movement. A long, smooth stride. Having a surface free from roughness or bumps or ridges or irregularities. Smooth skin. Lacking obstructions or difficulties. The bill's path through the legislature was smooth and orderly. Of the margin of a leaf shape, not broken up into teeth. The act of smoothing. He gave his hair a quick smooth of motion that runs or flows or proceeds without jolts or turbulence. A smooth ride. Mark with a brand or trademark. A distinctive characteristic or attribute. A formally registered symbol identifying the manufacturer or distributor of a product. Register the trademark of. The company trademarked their new gadget. An article giving opinions or perspectives. Anything that approximates the shape of a column or tower. The test tube held a column of white powder. A vertical cylindrical structure standing alone and not supporting anything, such as a monument. A vertical glass tube used in column chromatography. A mixture is poured in the top and washed through a stationary substance where components of the mixture are adsorbed selectively to form colored bands. Architecture. A tall vertical cylindrical structure standing upright and used to support a structure. A line of units following one after another. Any tubular or pillar-like supporting structure in the body. A page or text that is vertically divided. The newspaper devoted several columns to the subject. A vertical array of numbers or other information. He added a column of numbers. A ceremonial dance, as by the Hopi, in which snakes are handled or invoked. A group advancing in a single-file serpentine path. A file in which records are stored upright on one edge. A library catalog in which each publication is described on a separate file card. An alphabetical listing of items, e.g., books in a library, with a separate card for each item.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.